April 1st, or the first kind of early in April, we have a big gala for them. Let me see if I can share. Okay, not yet. We have
you will have that in 2 seconds.
Okay, I see progress. So we have a big fundraiser and gala connected to Nasher Prize, and the funding that funds all of that also funds our spring break family festivals. So they are very, the way I program them are very similar, but the funding is makes it a little bit different. And spring break it's almost an entire week. We're only open from Wednesday until Wednesday through Sunday. So it's that Wednesday through Sunday where we have those programs, and I do just sort of approach them similarly. And I was going to talk about our education staff. So we have 3 full-time staff members, and then we have 5 part-time gallery educators. Side note, we don't have docents, we just have those paid gallery educators, and our whole staff is amazing and wonderful. And we do a lot with a small staff. So my title, I'm manager of school and family programs. So I'm not just doing festivals, I do other things. So it's not my one and sole focus. And then we brought these festivals back, I think March or February of 2021. So it still hasn't been a full year that we've been back post-pandemic. And I went into my role during the pandemic. So it's actually been less than a full year that I've sort of been programming these. And I've had a help and guidance, kind of seeing what my predecessor did, and then getting input from our staff. But I'm still kind of new to family festivals too. So I'm going to share what we do, but I also look forward to hearing what all of you all have to say and share later. And let's see. Oh yeah, and I know that it will vary a lot based on like the size of your institution and the way you have things structured at where you are. So that's why I emphasized kind of we're a little smaller. Let's see. I can share. Woohoo! Okay, give me just 1 second. See. And let me just get rearranged really quickly so I can just see if anyone has something they want to say in the chat or anything like that. Okay, great. So this is some of our staff, our education staff. This was from a photo booth company that offered to sponsor one of our recent Free First Saturdays. So just some things I wanted to highlight about our festivals. We are kind of bilingual with Spanish translations for our schedule, our signage, and then a scavenger hunt that we have that has been, I mean, I'm not sure how prevalent it was before the pandemic, but we've been really intentional about that recently coming back. And I'm just going to go through our offerings. That was like a little schedule that y'all saw, but I'm going to go through our offerings. First of all, the kind of untimed things that we have going on for the whole period, and I'll hop back to the schedule. We're free the first Saturday of the month, and same for spring break. We're free all day from 11 to 5, but then we have targeted times for our family programs. So for Free First Saturday, it's really 11 to 2 p.m. that we're offering educational programming. And for spring break, it's going to be more like 11 to 4 p.m. And with Free First Saturdays, we do tend to target a younger family audience where the little ones are going to start getting tired after 2. So that's kind of where that timing comes from, and it does make it a bit more, manageable and sustainable for our staff to sort of have that targeted time period where we're offering programming. So some of the things that we offer for that whole time frame from 11 to 2, we have a scavenger hunt, which that has been a long time tradition of Free First Saturday, and it's very popular. So it's kind of like, let's keep a good thing going. Definitely when I came back from the pandemic, I was like, maybe we should do some other things, do some other self-guided programs, but this has been so popular and it's so well received and pretty easy for us to maintain. So we do have, we choose artworks out in the garden just because with the little ones, it can be like, yeah, our galleries can be a little bit precious sometimes. So the garden is definitely like a safe space for young people to kind of, just like and go see what they can find. And we do try to keep the imagery very obvious which sculpture we're choosing to appeal to those younger kiddos. We have the little placards that are out in the garden where you identify the artist's name and the title of the artwork. And we put tag board out just so that there's a hard surface that kiddos can write on. And we hand out golf pencils kind of when people are first entering and they get like their schedule. So that way they're not writing on, on our travertine walls, or they're not, they have or trying to use a sculpture to write down the title. So that's just a small detail that we're just on top of making sure we're setting them up for success. And the sweet cameras in this picture, that was a visiting artist designed activity. It was a really cute idea where the film strip, she wanted them to kind of draw images they see at the museum that day, and then they got to decorate their camera. I feel like there's something else I was going to say about the scavenger hunt. Oh yeah, so we have a fourth kind of drawing prompt. So just three sculptures to go find, and then a drawing prompt that they can go and explore. Another kind of standby that we have are coloring pages. And these kind of came out of the pandemic, where we would commission artists to create these coloring pages for the Nasher. But then we've kind of continued them on and had them at this event. And it's a super sustainable, easily volunteer-led sort of activity that we can have and provide for families, and it can last the whole time, last all day. And we have those at Free First Saturday and at spring break. Since our spring break, we tend to kind of highlight our Nasher Prize laureate. I have kind of commissioned our student advisory board to create specific colors. It's specific to the artist that we're celebrating, and it's a great opportunity for them to earn some income off of their art. So that's just one way we switch up the coloring pages during spring break versus Free First Saturday. Another thing that I have done during spring break, and maybe just so that it feels kind of special during that time period, we had a lot of success with, I called them build and play tables, but just putting out blocks for families to play with. And I think when I originally thought of these, I thought that they would just be something that could be easily volunteer managed and it's another, low maintenance activity. But we found that like a lot of people love the blocks and want to stay. And also it was appealing to kind of neurodiverse learners. It was just really accessible and fun for them. And they would just spend hours building things with the blocks. So moving on to more time-specific activities that we offer, we invite visiting artists to come. I think they're there for about 2 hours or so. Let's see. For just like a 2-hour activity. And so we have a big kind of hall where we usually host lectures, but that's also a safe space for messy materials. And the terrace is also a safe space for messier materials as well. So we'll usually host them there. And I'm pretty intentional, this is my own like internal guideline, is I try to have one BIPOC artist every month. And there might be some months where that's not possible from having trouble lining folks up. But that's kind of, just important to me in terms of diversity in our visitors kind of seeing themselves when they come to the museum. We have our guided tours with our gallery educators. We just have those at 11:30 and 12:30, and the group size varies a lot. We might have just a couple folks, or it might be a larger group, sometimes more like 30, which is a little crazy, but out in the garden, hopefully they can hear us okay. We always hire a food vendor at Free for Saturday to pass out food so the Nasher purchases the food up front, and then that's complimentary to our guests. And that's another kind of commitment to small businesses and diversity that I have, is kind of seeking out just some folks that are it's been really interesting getting to know kind of diving into community and getting to know the local vendors. And man, they have had a hard time post-pandemic and during the pandemic, so it always feels good to know that our Nasher dollars are sort of going into the community and supporting those people specifically. And food has to be outside, only eaten outside on our terrace. So the other time things that we'll offer are like education specific activities, and I tend to make sure that these have gallery friendly materials. So it might just be like a sketching spot, or if it is art making, it's sustainable, just gallery friendly materials that we're using. And that I tend to schedule that in the afternoon. And then one thing that was specific to our spring break programming was a collaborative art project. This spring break, we had a Harry Bertoia exhibition. He's a mid-century modern designer and sculptor. So this was inspired by sort of some screens that he created. So everyone got like a gold rectangle, and they were able to decorate it however they wanted with like washi tape and colored pencils, markers, and then we just used little twist ties to kind of affix them onto this like PVC armature. My colleague had kind of helped bring this all to fruition. So it was pretty successful. There were multiple modes of responding. Like some people would just write text, and other people felt more comfortable coloring and decorating and drawing. So the collaborative art making, we tend to do it during spring break where people can add to it all week. I'm kind of coming to the end of what I wanted to say to y'all, but I have implemented like an internship. It's a family program internship, and it is geared toward graduate students. We have one great kind of art education graduate program in Dallas at UNT, University of North Texas. So there's just crazy talented, crazy qualified students who come out of that program. And when I was in graduate school, I had a fellowship at a museum. So we used to kind of hire artists to fill in that later time slot where we have our education activity, but I've sort of rejigged things so that it's more a professional development opportunity for them, and they are paid for their work and developing either drop-in art making or facilitating kind of gallery sketching. And then the last thing is volunteers. I think in the past, we used to have a corporate sponsor who sponsored Free for Saturday, and they would send us volunteers, and they were very inconsistent. And I think that rubbed my predecessor the wrong way. And since I've come back, we've sort of just focused on high school students, and we have an arts magnet school in downtown Dallas, Booker T. Washington, which has crazy talented students. And then we've collaborated with other high schools like National Honor Societies. And so just getting consistent volunteers where the teenagers come and the teachers tell us, yes, they're coming. So the volunteers can be a little bit hit or miss sometimes, even so, depending on how busy they get. But that has been a meaningful way to connect our programming to the community, and I think get more community voice in the programs that we offer. So that actually wraps it up. I guess one last thing I might mention is that it is helpful to have like a post review, like of our spring break. We took a lot of notes about what worked and didn't work last year, and we'll be referring to that going forward. We do that with our staff. We don't have evaluations in place right now with the public. So if y'all have ideas about that, that would definitely be something that we probably should bring in. But it's harder with Free for Saturday where it's ongoing. But one nice thing about reviewing our programs is one of our gallery educators signed up for kind of a book club. And I still have yet to dive into this book, but it's called Design for Belonging. And she's actually kind of evaluating Free for Saturday from a inclusivity and diversity standpoint. So once she's kind of ready to share out, I think it just ended. So we'll be getting some feedback from her about ways to be more inclusive and make sure that folks feel like they belong at the museum. But yeah, I'll go ahead and stop sharing. Thank y'all. I'm looking forward to hearing what y'all have to say in y'all's responses.
Thank you so much, Erin. That was wonderful. If you wouldn't mind putting the name of that book and the author in the chat, I'm sure several folks were trying to capture that. Before we go into breakout groups, I thought let's do a few questions. So if you have something you want to ask Erin, you can unmute and do that now, or drop that in the chat and I'll be happy to voice it for the whole group. And Erin, oh, go ahead. And I've got a question in the chat when you're ready. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Emily.
I was just wondering, and maybe you said this and I missed it. What is your attendance usually on those days?
Oh, yes. It'll be about 1,200 visitors for the whole day. And I think doing the math, that's like 200 people per hour. This last one we had was like 800. And I think it was because it was cold. It seems very weather dependent and dependent on what's happening downtown.
And Erin, in addition to that question around attendance, if you wouldn't mind dropping in the chat where you got those colorful blocks, I think several of us were like, those are cute. So if you wouldn't mind sharing your source
Sure.
for that, we'd appreciate it.
Sure, it's Amazon. I wish it was something better, but y'all know, we're just doing our best. But I can find the links and share those.
I have not so much a question, but an answer to one of your questions at the very end about the survey stuff. So I'm from the Walker Art Center in Minneapolis, and we also do something that is called Free for Saturday, same name. Popular title, I'm sure, but we have been doing something for a while now for like the survey question type information that I think works really well. And we have a table, usually like a station, there might be a volunteer there, where we have, we pick just like 3 questions, and it's usually like, I think we have a question about like what language people speak at home, and how they like heard about the event, and whether or not they've been there before, questions like that. And then we have sort of like a little container of these like wooden circle chips, and then we have jars that have answers on them. So it's like an interactive, like families can come up and they pick up the little token and then they put it in the jar to answer the question. And it seems like usually like people have really great feedback and they are excited to be like, oh, which one says this, or like parents are helping kids. And it's very interactive, and it's a great way to get like feedback quickly that's not having people like scan a code or like fill out a survey. And then we also have a giant printout of a map, just kind of like the local Twin Cities area, and you can put a sticker on like where you're coming from, or write in if you're visiting from like farther away. So those are really nice. It's eye-catching, and people come right up and they're like, what is this? And then they want to answer the question. So, and we have Post-its to write in answers too if they like, but it's a pretty fun and pretty like low setup idea. Yeah.
Thank you. I love that it's so visual. Somebody asked in the chat if if people register, they just purchase a regular ticket to the museum with free admission, or they can show up that day. So there isn't a registration.
I remember we used to have these family type festivals, but when we went to free admission, the attendance went way down because people could come anytime then and without having to pay. So I wonder, because I remember when you said 1,200, it was like, I remember those days a lot. So, and we tried another program called Kickstart Saturday where it was, I think, every other Saturday, but there just wasn't a lot. I think people, I don't know if you find that people are there for the interaction or for the free admission, or is there, I mean, anecdotally, have you noticed?
I think the families are definitely there for the activities. Everybody's happy about the free food, of course. But you can kind of tell when people walk in. We have a welcome desk where we just are handing out the schedule and scavenger hunt. And there's like a Dallas Fort Worth child, like just a magazine that we pass out, that they give us for free and we're trying to get rid of. But you can just kind of tell people walking in if they're excited about the family offerings or if they were just wanting to see the museum for free. We definitely want to catch everyone. And if everyone, it's like art making's for everybody. So we would love for everybody to go downstairs and see the visiting artists and engage. But yeah, definitely varies a lot.
Yeah, truly, go ahead.
Hey, Erin, you might have talked a little bit about this, but could you speak more to the budget for an event like this and how it's funded and what are kind of your expense costs versus things that are built into your budget versus things that are in kind, and how you work with development in funding something like this?
Yes.
And Erin, I want to be mindful of budget. I'm happy to stop the recording now if you need to keep budget things within this room, if that's helpful.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. I just know sometimes there can be I want you to be able to speak honestly about that.
Yes, I would have